Amanda, I want to play a game.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. As you can see from the title, today's video is going to be my spoiler-free review of The Strangers Chapter 1. Now, I usually do my reviews with spoilers, but because I saw this film on an early screener thanks to Lionsgate, I will be keeping the spoilers to myself, meaning that I'm going to be very general with the details. Now, given that quick disclaimer, let's get into the video. The Strangers Chapter 1 follows after their car breaks down in an eerie small town. A young couple is forced to spend the night in a remote cabin. Panic ensues as they are terrorized by three masked strangers who strike with no mercy and seemingly no motive. Now, this is the third film on the Strangers franchise. The first one was back in 2008, and then we had the sequel, The Strangers Pray at Night, that came out in 2018. Now, this is an upcoming trilogy that is supposed to work as a prequel of The Strangers from 2008. And while this first film is going to have a similar premise that the one from 2008, they aren't the same story or the same film. Now, because I cannot give any spoilers, my best way to summarize this film is that we have this couple that are Maya and Ryan. They are on their way to Portland, but they get stuck in this small town and they need to spend the night in this cabin that is isolated and out of the woods. During the night, of course, we're going to be seeing the strangers. They're going to be haunting this couple. I could say from the first half hour that they made their first appearance all the way to the end. This film is 1 hour and 30 minutes, so basically we can say that we have an hour of The Strangers. Because again, I cannot say basically anything. The film has an open ending. It does not have the same ending as the one from 2008, that's for sure. But don't leave the theater when you see the critics, because you may miss a surprise that left me with more questions than answers. Now, getting into the review. I saw this film almost a month ago. I screamed, I almost cried, because this is a huge opportunity. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't write to anyone. I didn't ask for it. It just came. And I cannot believe that Lionsgate was giving me this opportunity to watch this film almost a month before it got released, meaning that I have been stuck with my notes and my review for almost a month. But I am glad, because at the same time that gave me enough time to really sit down and to think about what I really like it, dislike it, and how I really felt about the film. Because I finished the film, I ended up with mixed feelings. I was excited for this film. It was one of my most expected for this month. But I'm not gonna lie that by the time that I ended the film, those feelings, they changed a little bit. So I was eager to read and see what was going to be the opinion of everyone else, to see if we were on the same page or if it was just a me thing. But apparently no, because this is the current score in Rotten Tomatoes. And I have read plenty of reviews, and I think that we are agreeing on some stuff. And the first one is that this film, it kind of felt that nothing happened. When I ended the film, I was like, so basically nothing really happened. A couple days ago, I saw this interview from the director, and he said that this story is supposed to be one huge story that is going to be chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, but it's a full story. And if you put them all together, it's supposed to be like 4 hours and a half. And I was like, okay, so this is supposed to feel like the first act. That makes sense, but at the same time, I think that these films, they are supposed to work on their own. Example that I want to use here is Fear Street from 2021. This is a trilogy that was released on Netflix. They release one film 1 week behind the another, so we didn't have that much time between the films. We worked pretty well together, but also as standalone. Here, this one feels definitely like a first act, but it leaves this feeling of emptiness in a way, because I was like, there's no way that I just saw 1 hour and a half of this and I kind of feel that nothing happened. But once again, I kind of feel validated. I am not the only one that thought that. But once again, I understand from the point of view of the director that this is supposed to be the first act. But at the same time, not everyone is going to either know that or watch your interviews. So I feel that they could have worked a little bit better with that detail. Led me to this opinion, although I have only watched the first one. The second one is supposed to be released in the fall. is that this story could have either worked better as just part 1 and part 2, making these films longer, or as a mini series similar to It from the 90s. You had the whole story divided in 2 parts, one night the first episode and on the second night the other, like even release on the same night. I don't really feel that it was a smart move to make us wait until fall after watching it, because at first I thought maybe that is going to be a good strategy, but once I ended I was like, no, to wait that long is going to make people forget, and it's maybe going to kill a little bit the hype. And now with the reviews, I'm not gonna lie that I'm a little bit scared about what is going to happen. There have been some rumors about people saying maybe now they will not want to release the film, or maybe they're just going to put it on streaming. So who knows what is going to happen. I was expecting also to get at least either a look or maybe a date of the second chapter, similar to X, that at the end of the film they released a little trailer of Pearl and the fact that it was coming, and they did the same thing with Maxine. So I was expecting something similar. The reality is that the only thing that gives me this hype and this feeling of wanting to watch the second chapter is the post-credit scene, because the film ends and I was like, so I am just supposed to wait and that's it? Like, no. And about 10 to 15 seconds later is the post-credit scene. I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. But it's just like 10 seconds, and once again it gives more questions than answers. Of course, that's the whole purpose, but I was like, damn it, I was really hoping to get some answers here, but that wasn't a good start. Now, getting into things that are more positive or things that I enjoyed. First, the setting. I really like the fact that we are on a cabin isolated. Adds to the tension, which I would say that was kind of my favorite thing, at least for me. Felt that build up. Because to a certain point, we know that the strangers are coming from the opening scene. And of course, if you saw the other films, you know that they are coming and you know that of what they are capable. So of course we already have that. And then how they start appearing, and they did something similar to The Haunting of Hill House, where you have to be looking on the background and you're going to be seeing one of them. They did that a few times while on the house before they get into like, we are here. And those scenes were pretty tense. But this is actually my favorite shot and my favorite moment. It's when Maya, she's playing the piano and there's a big mirror on the wall. And she's playing, she's concentrated, and we see on the reflection the man with the mask behind her. It was seriously amazing. It was tense because, like, he's there with her. She's alone right now because Ryan, he left to get some food. So anything can happen. But of course, nothing happens yet. Eventually, of course, they make themselves known. And we have the "Is Tamara here?" That quote was used on the trailer and also on a clip. So that doesn't count as a spoiler. So we had that similar to the one from 2008. And she appears like 2 to 3 times on the door, and at the third time is when things get pretty tense. Then we could say that we have this cat and mouse dynamic when we have the couple running around on the house, and then we have the 3 strangers. They are just wandering and taking their time, which make me even more tense. The fact that they are just wandering around, putting some music with their weapons in hand, just chilling, pretty calm. And I was like, they are going to kill me. So unfortunately for this couple, they're going to get catch. This is something that is not a spoiler, of course. This is something that is also shown on the trailer, and we have this Easter egg of when we have all the strangers in front of the couple and she asks, why are you doing this? Here they changed the quote, but it's essentially the same scene. And like I said, the ending is not the same one. We don't have the strangers leaving. The truck is, it's not, I don't know if it's the exact same one, but it's a pretty similar one. But we don't have that moment where they go and they find the kids that they are giving the pamphlets. We actually see those at the beginning, but they leave and we have the couple. Of course, I will not be saying anything because I don't want to spoil what happens with the couple. we get the answer, like we are not left in complete darkness, similar to the ending of 2008, where we had no clue if she actually survived, what happened with her, because we know that he in fact didn't make it. But here we are gonna give a better answer, and of course then we have the post credit scene. Now, another positive aspect here was the acting. I think that Madeleine, that is the girl that plays Maya, no, I know who she is because she played Cherry Blossom on Riverdale. And when I saw her, I thought she's the type of actress that needs to be on a better project, because I know that she can be a pretty good one. And she definitely has talent. I think that she did a good job. She convinced me. There's a scene where an axe goes through the door. She said on an interview that that wasn't CGI, that she was actually in front of the door and the axe had to go throughout, like right here on the side. And the scream that she did was real. I was like, definitely I believe you, because that thing sound real.
The axe goes through the door was not CGI'd. My head was there. And I really trusted the person behind the door. That's legitimate. Isn't that right?
That's true.
Yeah. The scream is very real.
And I appreciate the fact that they didn't use CGI. So I think that she did a pretty good job. The guy that did Ryan, he also did a pretty good job. But for me, she's the one that takes the spotlight. When it comes to the strangers, they do a pretty good job in being creepy as hell. Of course, they do not speak. That's the quote of Stammer here. And why are you doing this? Is because we wanted to. Like, they're basically like two lines, and they are the girls, the one that speak. The man never really speaks. But they do a pretty good job, because there is the body language and the way that they are always like moving and wandering around. Like, they did a pretty good job with that. So at least in terms of the acting, good. When it comes to the cinematography, I think that they did a pretty good job with that. It definitely helped with the atmosphere. But unfortunately, when it comes to the script or the general feeling of the film, it felt generic and a little bit basic. When it comes to the jump scares, a few of them, they were good and effective, but others were pretty predictable. The film is kind of predictable, especially if you saw the first one, because we kind of know what is going to happen. Because although the ending is not the same one, there are a lot of moments that they are indeed pretty similar. I mean, they are supposed to be the same premise. So that ends up making this film predictable. But that's more of a me problem rather than the film, because I saw the first one. If you have never seen it, maybe you had no idea what was going to happen, maybe you didn't catch the Easter eggs. So that is up to you if you want to watch it or not, because you're not obligated, because at the end this is supposed to be the prequel. When it comes to the music and the atmosphere, I think once again they did a pretty good job with that. Once again, I felt very tense, so for me at least it worked. So saying all of that, as you can probably expect, I'm not going to be giving this one such a high rating as I was actually expecting, because I had high expectations from this film. Unfortunately, they weren't fulfilled. Would I recommend watching it? Yeah, I think that you can have a good time, but don't get your expectations too high. Because I think that what made the first one so damn good, although it has mixed reviews, because at the moment that it was released, it was pretty original, and also it's creepy as hell, and it has this charm that here is missing. So there's really nothing to compare, because unfortunately at the end this is not an original concept anymore. So all that is left is wait for chapter 2, that, like I said, we don't have an official date yet, but it's supposed to be released this fall. And a question that this film actually left for me is how they're going to continue this story. Because how are you going to stretch this? I kind of feel that they're going to have to do a second story, and that is going to work maybe as a subplot, and then it's going to connect with what happened here. Once again, for me, this could have worked way better as a mini-series rather than 3 films, but that's just my opinion. So for me, this film will be a 2.5 out of 5 and a 6 out of 10. I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting to give this film maybe a 4 out of 5, an 8 out of 10. Probably that was just a me problem. Probably my expectations were way too high. The hype was there because I really like the original that right now is actually available on HBO Max. If you want to watch it and you have never done it, it's pretty good. Once again, has mixed reviews, but I think that is worth watching. But I do not feel like I hated this film. I didn't dislike it to the point that I am, I don't want to watch. Like, no, I want to watch it. Like, trust me. I am hoping that we're going to have to see an improvement. They are already filmed, so they are just in post-production. So crossing fingers that we're going to be having that one maybe a little bit earlier than expected. And when it comes to chapter 3, that one is supposed to be coming on 2025. Once again, I don't feel that that is the strategy that they're supposed to be doing, but of course, that's just me. I would have preferred to watch them closer than these. I don't even want to do the math right now or how long I'm gonna have to wait, but you get the point. Now, thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below what are your thoughts on this film, and are you planning on watching the rest ones or just sticking with this chapter 1? Thank you, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.
Game over.